Forward to that, Commissioner. Thank you. Mr. Paulsen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, thanks also for being here to testify today. You know, it goes without saying that you're taking the reins of a very troubled agency at a very troubled time, and I sincerely hope that you're going to have success, a lot more success than some of your predecessors have had in ensuring that the IRS is going to be administering the law in an appropriate manner because, as you've clarified, I think, in your opening statement, hardworking taxpayers deserve this at the very, very least. And I want to touch on several topics real quick, if I can, in my limited time. Commissioner, the IRS's proposed rules for 501c4 groups, they're bizarre for a number of reasons. And not only are they premature, released in the middle of an ongoing congressional investigation, they also do upend long-established, as Chairman Camp had mentioned earlier, rules that are governing 501c4s. And just looking at the regulations, I understand that under the proposed rules for 501c3 charitable organizations, they would still be able to conduct nonpartisan voter registration. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay, but if a C4 organization conducts nonpartisan voter registration, it would jeopardize its exempt status and count against that entity's social welfare activity. Is that correct?
That's a proposal out there for discussion and comment.
All right, and then under the proposed rules, a C3 charitable organization would still be able to conduct nonpartisan candidate forums near an election, correct?
It's my understanding.
All right, but again, if a C4 organization held a nonpartisan candidate forum near an election, it would then jeopardize its status and count against the entity's social welfare activity, correct?
That's the proposal out for comment and discussion.
Well, and Commissioner, I'm just trying to understand if this makes any sense, because it sounds like it's time to go back to the drawing board in terms of looking at the rule. I understand that the public will have an opportunity to comment, but shouldn't we expect that Treasury or the IRS is going to be able to publish a draft rule that makes more sense? And the only way this rule is going to make more sense is if the intent is to drive the only way this rule makes more sense is if the intent is really to drive 501c4s out of the public square, because that certainly looks like it's the direction it's pushing.
Well, as I noted, we have, as I say, the new American record for comments in terms of 21,000, and there's still more time. And I look forward to seeing what those comments are and participating. I don't have total control over this, obviously. Participating in the discussion to respond appropriately to those comments, which are covering these issues and others, because I do think that it won't do us any good if we end up with a final regulation that doesn't solve the problems that people are commenting on and think exist, both with the process generally and with the particular proposal. So I'm looking forward to learning more from those comments, and they will, I think, address the issues you raise.
Commissioner, just like I think many members up here and who are members of Congress, we've heard from our constituents, and I've certainly heard from many Minnesotans who now light bulbs went off. They learned about what's going on in the media and the press last spring about various individuals being targeted based on their political beliefs, their personal beliefs, and now they're thinking, you know, I'm a little anxious, I'm a little suspicious. I've heard from folks saying, my accountants are telling me we've never seen this level of audit activity before, and light bulbs are going up there saying, hey, I've been active with some 501c4s, I've given in politically to some organizations, am I being targeted for that purposes? Can you just let me know and let the committee know in general, and you've touched on this, but what procedures, if any, is the IRS now have in place to ensure that individuals are not being targeted by the IRS in any way as a result of their personal or political beliefs?
That issue has been reviewed. I've actually talked with our chief risk officers and others. The IRS has a historically long history of very detailed procedures and reviews of audit selection criteria. And I can guarantee you that no one is targeted because for those audits in that criteria for any affiliation they have. The audits are targeted according to data in the analytics that come through in terms of where we are likely to find either underreporting or overreporting, where there are likely to be issues. And I think it is important to assure the American public that that is the situation, and I can give you my unvarying commitment that the IRS, as it goes forward doing audits, will be doing them in a fair, even-handed way. And as I discussed earlier, my concern is that everyone going forward, to the extent there is visibility about the basis for it, is going to assume that if they get a letter from the IRS, they're going to immediately think, what did I do wrong? Which organization should I not belong to? Who did I give a contribution to? What's my church affiliation? And I just want to to the extent I can by saying it, but as I said, the proof will be in the pudding, assure people that there is no selection criteria that would be viewed as unfair. It is all done independently, and people are going to be treated and have been treated fairly in terms of audits.
Commissioner, can I just ask, would you and your staff be willing to work with myself and members of my staff to relate on some of those concerns that have been raised from some individuals that I've heard of in terms of IRS reviews?
Right. And as I said earlier, I've talked to the employees. It's always been my view that internal auditors and IGs are very important sources of information. Frontline employers are. As I said in my Senate confirmation hearing, congressional inquiries are a great and important source of information. An individual inquiry from a constituent is probably anecdotal. But if we got a series of them from different constituents, from different congressmen, then that's an important source of information that we need to listen to and investigate. So to the extent that anybody is getting concerns, I'm delighted to work with you, and I will commit that our organization will work with you to make sure that we haven't inadvertently gotten somebody in a situation they don't deserve to be in. And I would like the public to feel confident that when they raise that issue with you, you can raise it with us, and we will jointly assure that if there happens to be a problem, everybody will know about it quickly and we'll fix it. But basically, I am confident that we're not going to find those problems. But I need to hear from your constituents. One of my commitments to my staff is when we hear from somebody in the Congress, I want to respond promptly. I do not want to have you feel you write a letter and it takes months to get an answer from me. If you write me a letter, I'm going to write you an answer quickly. If there's a problem, I'm delighted to work with you to try to get to the bottom of it.
Thank you, Mr.